How would you like to spend 13 days in Athens and exploring the surrounding Greek islands with a 4-day cruise of the Mediterranean thrown in to boot? We will arrive in Athens and leave from Athens, so there's only one airport to worry about. In between those trips, we're going to visit every single city that you see here on the map and much more. Once in Athens, we're going to visit the home of the very first Greek king, King Otto. And while we're there, we'll shop, we'll see tons of art and history, and we'll get to climb the ancient Olympic Stadium stairs. It's a race to the top, so be careful. Of course, we'll climb to the top of the Acropolis to see the Parthenon. If we time it right, we might even get to see it at night, but regardless of when we get there, the view from the top is amazing. Once we come down from the Acropolis, we can stand on the very rock where Paul stood to spread the new faith of Christianity to the Greeks above him. Just a small walk from the stone that Paul stood on, we can visit the tomb of the unknown soldier and meet some scary guards. If you get too close, they'll slam their guns on the marble and scare you to death. At the tomb of the unknown soldier, you can also pay a local man to spread birdseed on you, basically, and let the birds eat it off. It's a really fun adventure. Next, we'll visit the Plaka district of Athens. It's also known as the neighborhood of the gods by the locals. This is just an absolutely beautiful place to have brunch, shop, just take gorgeous pictures, and spend a wonderful afternoon. In Greece, we're also going to visit lots of temples. These are just a couple of them, Zeus and Apollo. Most of them are up really high, so you have a wonderful view of the grounds below. When we visit the oracle at Delphi, we'll get to stand exactly where Alexander the Great once stood to hear his prediction from the oracle, and you can also speak through the oracle stone that reverberates your voice and makes it sound like you're inside the cave that the oracle once was in. Part of this trip is also a 4-day cruise aboard a ship very much like this one. It is just, there's always something going on. It's so much fun. There's dancing and music and food more than you could ever imagine. Lots of pools, always something to do, and this boat literally never sleeps. Even during the day, you can find the staff and fellow travelers dancing right on the decks. At night, there are some really great shows in different places on the ship, so if you don't like one, you might like the next one. Some of the shows are a little far out there, but they're always fun to watch. While on the boat cruise, we'll stop at lots of islands. Samos Island is one of them, and bring your bathing suit because there's lots of great swimming. We'll also visit Mykonos Island, where there's tons of really good shopping. You can go all the way up to the top of it and see the windmills. They're very, very, very old and really cool to look at. There's lots of locals that will play music for you and dance, lots of animal shows, just something for everyone, really. And in the evening, we will end up back at this little church. It's considered the most beautiful sunset in the entire world, and this picture does not do it justice. I got there a little bit late, but this truly, truly was the most beautiful sunset ever. Mykonos Island is also known for some really terrific restaurants. Anything you'd ever want to eat is there, especially if you love seafood, but if you don't, there's tons of other stuff too. Patmos Island is a really unique place too. It also has castles and shopping. You can see lots of history, including some illuminated text. And there's a home that Paul stayed in while he was on Patmos Island. This is one of my son's favorite places. He was about 16 when we went there, and he still talks about it, and he's 21. We'll visit Rhodes Island, which was once a city during the Crusades. So about 1300 is when they built the fortification you see in front of you. You're going to see the home of the kings that lived there and the beautiful towers of the castle. You're also going to get to look into some of the cells of the prisoners that they captured during the Crusades. There's lots of beautiful gardens and actual burial grounds of some of the Crusaders, and you'll hear the story of why the stones are the way that they are that you see in the picture. I'll save that for the trip. There's a maze within the city as well, and you're not going to get lost, but it's really neat to try and find your way out without having to stop and look for directions on one of the many, many maps that are in the maze. So don't worry about getting set off course. You'll be fine. You can also visit the main fortification where you can see the old cannons and the cannonballs, really, really old stuff. Crete Island is one of the highlights of the entire trip, and you also visit this from the ship. The Palace of Knossos was built 1700 BC in Crete, and that's one of the coolest places to go. At the palace, you're going to see frescoes that are thousands of years old. You're also going to get to see the throne of one of the kings of Crete at the Palace of Knossos, and one of the actual bowls where somebody had to clean his feet. You get to see many different levels, and you finally understand something that you can't get in a history class, that the labyrinth at the palace is actually the palace itself. It's all these weird levels and many rooms. You can see that again in this picture. And beautiful views of the olive orchards below. Along the way, there's going to be all kinds of trips that they offer, and you can do it or not. If you don't want to ride donkeys, you don't have to, but for about 20 bucks, it's a really cool ride. Last time we went, we also got to take time, and I'm sure we will again this time, to stop in a port, and we walked about a few blocks, and we ended up finding this quite by accident, and I plan on going back there. But you can climb the ladder that you see out in the water. When you climb, you're actually in the Aegean Sea, and you dive into the Mediterranean. And you can't see it great from this picture, but you can actually see the different colors, so you know you climbed up in one body of water and jumped into another. And you see the kids here in the picture picking up stones. You can find stones of every color. I have fish tanks full of this. I had a suitcase that was nothing but rocks the last time I went here. You'll love it. And then you see an up close of the kids diving. Tons of fun. Ia is a pretty famous city. If you ever watched The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, the city that the girls were in is Ia. Girls, you probably know what I'm talking about. Boys, maybe not, but it's beautiful. You can see it is often mistaken for snow on top of the mountain, and I'll show you a better picture in a minute. So you see the little ziggy thing in the middle? That's actually the road that you take on a bus. It's kind of scary. A couple of us had to sit in the floor, myself included. But the drivers are masters at it, and that is the only road to get to Ia. And you can kind of see now how it looks like a snow cap. And we are actually standing on a volcano across from Ia, and I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. This is Ia's shops. There is no driving once you get there. You have to walk. There are like mini bikes and things like that for the locals, but lots of walking, lots of great shopping, lots of places to stop and have a cold drink or something for lunch. And if you don't want to take the road back down, the only other way is to ride a cable car, which was really neat, and it has a great view and you can take wonderful pictures. This is one of those pictures. So you can see the sun is starting to go down, and you can see the golden light of the sun shining on the city of Ia. Now we also were offered from the ship that we were on, we were offered to take a pirate ship and dive into the caldera of a live volcano. And so we did that, and that's what you see here. We're diving off of the ship. And you swim over to the right hand side here. Can't make it out too well in the picture, but it's actually a mud bath, and they time you, so it's like a race, and you cover each other in mud, and then they ring the bell and everybody has to race back to the ship. It's so much fun. After that, we hiked up the volcano I just told you about. His name is George. He is also active, and you can do all kinds of crazy poses from the top. You can jump off rocks if that's what you choose to do. Just don't get hurt. And you can actually find little pits along the way where you can smell the gases coming out and you can feel the heat and you feel a slight rumble under your feet because George is active. It's a really neat thing to experience. And again, you can see Ia from George. You see our ship out there in the water. Just a really cool sight. We will also experience a Greek evening of entertainment if you so choose. As you can see in the picture, you can get up and dance with the people. They will teach you how to do it. One of the dances is a belly dance, and that's what they're doing now. They also do a dance with fire. We're not going to do that, but it's really neat to see, and the food is wonderful. The guys and ladies that do this are so entertaining, and he's actually going to spin this glass that he's holding up in the basket in his hand without spilling a drop. Really neat. Lots of them join in the show. It's so happy and so exhilarating. You would just love it. And you can see how great they are at what they do and how happy they look as they're doing it. And this is right before they called a bunch of us up on stage to dance with them again. We're also going to visit a pottery and have a workshop, which I know sounds kind of boring, but these two men that you see are brothers, and they are really entertaining. It's a very funny act. They show you how they really do make the pottery in their shop, which is huge, by the way, and there's so many things to buy there, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Girls, there's lots of jewelry there, and it's made well, and it's cheap. But these guys are hysterical, and they'll show you how to make the pottery and make you laugh as they do it. We will also visit many fortresses. You're going to forget which one you're at. There's so many of them, but each one is individual and has something wonderful to share. And you see more water, lots of hiking. Wear comfortable shoes. Make sure you have a swimsuit. We will also visit one of my favorite places, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to in all my travels, and that is Olympia, where they held the Olympics, the Greeks did. You actually get to run the Olympic field, which is one of the many illusions of the Greeks. You see in this picture, we're the shadows of all of us. We're standing right at the end, and it doesn't look like the kids have very far to run. But the next picture will show you how far they really did have to run. So you can see how far away they are. Like I said, it's an illusion, and as you're running, and I ran it too, as you're running, you start to think, is there no end? Is there no end? And it gives you a really good idea of how good the Greeks were at being masters of illusion. We'll also have plenty of really cool dinners. This was a dinner in the city of Olympia, and lots of dancing there too. If you don't want to dance, you don't have to, but it's so much fun. The hotel in Olympia was the coolest hotel I've ever been to. This guy collects antiques of all kinds, but one of his favorite things is antique cars. There's also beautiful gardens you can walk in. The swimming pool is amazing as well. And there's a picture of the pool and the breakfast room. Notice it's outside because it's always pretty in Greece. This is the front entrance, and you can see that the grounds are just absolutely beautiful, and he's got a lot of antiques up on the porch, which I'll show you a better picture. Here's some of the antiques, grand piano. The people that work there will come out and play it occasionally. Just so uplifting and such a neat place. We will also go to some Mycenaean remains that were built in 1400 BC. This is actually part of a giant fortification that leads up to a castle. And this is one of the underground caverns, which you can go as far in as you dare. This is the view from above, just wonderful. And at the very end, you're going to be super thirsty. And this guy is there with fresh oranges that were just picked in the fields below the fortress. And then he's going to make you the best orange juice on the planet.